Terry, obviously an eventful 24 hours at the club. What's the mood like within the camp this morning at training?
Yeah, I think it was one of shock yesterday, and first of all disappointment, and yeah, a lot of soul searching. I had a number of conversations with Gary Johnson yesterday, and the way that it sort of escalated and moved on, it was it happened very quick. So we had a meeting today, spoke with the players, and there's a lot of people in that changing room out there that's disappointed that it's come to this because he brought so many people into the changing room. And as I said before, we're disappointed, but with the events that's happened now, we've got to be professional, and we're only a couple of days away from a massive game for the football club. So now we've got to move on, and we've sort of remembered the good times and everything that's gone on. But now it's a sort of ruthless way of looking at it. But you've got no time for the next game, so now we've got to get the boys focused and make sure we put in a good performance and get a result the weekend.
Yeah, you're in charge until further notice. What's the chairman told you that actually means?
All I can say to you is that I was approached about it yesterday, so there's not really been any much time to sit down and do any talking. There was a lot to sort out, I think, with Gary, so there was a lot of stuff that went on yesterday, and from my point of view, I need to make sure I get through this game, the next game, and then you can sort of sit down and talk about things longer term. But at the moment, all it's been is me agreeing to take over for the time being, and get a run of results together, and hopefully get the club up the league.
Yeah. Would you be interested though if it was offered to you? Would you be interested in taking on the job again?
It's again, I've not had much time to sit down and talk with my family. So from my point of view, at the moment, it's full steam ahead and making sure that we get the boys ready for a game. So not had time to really think about it, and don't want to start throwing hats in rings and saying stuff. I've been in this situation before, and the time's come again. It's not ideal circumstances, but it's one where you've got to stand up, and I think the people that know me as a player and as a manager the first time around, I don't run away from challenges. This challenge it's easy to walk away from, and people, one or two people might have said perhaps you should walk away, but I don't think them people have ever obviously stood up to challenges and ever won, and that's what you've got to do, and that's what me, Darren Way, who's assisting me, along with the staff and the players, we've all agreed into, and we've all bought into for the time being, really giving this a crack.
Yeah, has that helped, do you think, with the squad? They've got familiarity with you and Darren, of course.
Yeah, I like the way you said that.
I know, I do as well.
That's really good. Yeah, I think that was a major point, was the continuity, that was probably a better word, of somebody that maybe have came in new, would have to have started again and had to rebuild, where we've been here, we know, and the meeting went really well today. The training was good, and it's okay saying that, but it's what we're going to produce out there on Saturday, which is the most important thing. And it's all been about preparing now, and it's been a scenario where the king is dead, long live the king, and you've got to carry on and you've got to move on. And 24 hours in football, as we know, turns over very quickly, and it could be all different tomorrow, the next game, a game after that. So from my point of view, it's just get your head down and work as hard as possible. Yeah.
What do you think we'll see differently, or will it be different to the style of football you play, to what Gary used, the systems and so on?
Listen, I think you've got to, I don't want to give too much away. I think with what's been going on in the home games, we actually had a little look back, and I think the thing that's killed us has been the draws. Really, we've had a lot of games where we was in winning positions that we threw away 2 points, I think maybe on 5 or 6 occasions. We've never really, I think only maybe 2 or 3 times all season we've been soundly beaten, and the margins of error have been so fine. And this is me not giving excuses, but with the injury sort of situation that we've got as well, we could have been in a different position, and a set of circumstances have put us there, but we are there, and now it's a case of turning that round and starting the weekend. We've got a really important month that's coming up, with teams that are above us in the league and teams that we can aim for to catch, and we need to make sure that we do that.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be a different manager from your last spell in charge here? Do you think things would have changed? You've learnt maybe from that experience?
Well, I'd like to think so, because first time I'd done it, I had no experience. I was just coming out of playing, I've had experience of being here and having to go to the second from last game of the season to keep Yeovil Town's safety. So I know that me and the staff that I've got have definitely got the minerals to handle that. We wouldn't shy away from going that far. And experience, you can go on courses and you can do everything. And I've been on courses as well, and they talk about your career path. And when it's on a little bit of paper and you look like you go there, then you go there, then all of a sudden you've got this new job. They don't ever talk about the circumstances that you end up getting jobs in. And the two circumstances I've had to step in have been ones where it's been quite difficult. But I've been here before. I'm definitely more experienced. I'd like to thank Gary Johnson as well, because without him as a player, I don't think I would have gone on to have done all the things that I've done in my football career. And as when I stepped down and he became the manager, I learned a hell of a lot from him as well. And even yesterday, when I'm speaking to him, he's still giving me advice on how to go into the weekend. And I know that I'll still be able to call on him as a friend and as a manager, because the staff that we did have was very close. And as again, I'll say I was just as disappointed as everybody else, but you've got to come on, and I'm an employee of Yeovil Town Football Club, and I've got to go on and do my job.
Yeah, do you believe that the squad is good enough to start?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I wouldn't have took the job otherwise. I just would have said, no, this really isn't for me, and I'd have been like that person, and I would have walked away. And then all of a sudden, you feel like you've, you can't get out of it, or you don't think that you're the man to do it. And Gary Johnson felt the same as well. He still felt that he could go on and get this club safe, to the same as what I do. And it's a challenge, but it's one that he was ready to carry on with, and it's one that I'm ready to carry on with as well.
Yeah, and it's a big game, isn't it? Crawley, massive game. It couldn't be a bigger game, arguably, could it, this weekend?
They're all. Listen, if you get beat on Saturday, it's not. The big game comes is when you've got to win to keep your survival. That's where it's big. But it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's a massive game. It's at home, but we've got to do something different at home, because we've been coming up with the same results. So for us, it's trying to do something a bit different, and giving something fresh, and coming up with a different outcome, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, good luck, Terry. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
So we mentioned the circumstances, they're not ideal. Is there enough belief, do you think, given the position, given the time left, within the group? I mean, you said you believe. Do the players, do you think?
Well, as I said before there, we said how many wins we needed. We looked at the games. We looked at what we've had here and what we've been against away. And we've said, if we've been soundly beaten every week, and, we've been trounced, and that hasn't happened. So for us, the belief's still there, and the belief is definitely within the players. But they're harbouring a lot of disappointment as well in the circumstances in which Gary went. And for us now, it's putting the belief into performances out on the football pitch. And that's something that we've definitely got to improve on.
This Crawley game has been talked about as one of those 6-pointers, must-wins. Problem is, I suppose, if you look at it that way and you don't get that win, then where does that leave you, in terms of perception and belief?
Yeah, well, for me personally, it just puts you on to the next game. If you don't win the next two and you went on an 8-game winning run, then all of a sudden, it pales in significance. But for me, it's just, and for the team, it's making sure that the results turn round. There's been a hell of a lot of good performances, but as I said before, at home we've drawn too many. We've had an increase. I've never known so many long-term injuries within the squad. People like Kevin Dawson's never been injured since the day he's walked in here, with Simon Gillett. A lot of players that were really performing well for us. Joel Grant, we've not even seen Joel this year. Liam Davis has been having sort of injuries as well, and with Chris Wheel, there's been a lot of freakish injuries that we've not even been able to put people out for training. So, but people have got back. We've got a squad to work with now, and with the few loan signings that we do have, we've got belief, and we need to make sure, as I said before, we put it out on the pitch.
Sorry, you previously, with yourself, Gary and Darren, 3 of you doing an incredible amount of work. How are you going to tackle it now? There's just 2 of you, obviously, with Gareth and Steve as a support.
I don't think there's much difference from when I did it the first time round. You know, I mean, it was really tough because Nathan was playing, Ben Roberts was on the bench, and the first time I took over, poor old Darren Way was on the back of a car accident. So I think I'm in a stronger position now than what I was the first time I took over. So that's been probably a major positive for me and for everyone here, is that the staff that I've got is not new to all of us. Everyone that's here at the moment is bringing something to the party because they've been doing the jobs that they're in, their current jobs that they're in, for the last the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So it's an experienced staff that I do have, rather than the first time I took over, it was very inexperienced and it was all new to us.
Okay. I know that you probably I can probably give you the answer to this question before I ask it, but the loan window opens next week. You obviously
does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it's good.
You've got one fit first team keeper. Have you had the discussion yet about what you're going to be able to do when that window reopens? Was that something a bit later in the week?
No, we've already spoke about it, and you know, we've got some targets there, but we're only going to bring in sort of loan targets, and it doesn't necessarily mean a goalkeeper. If we're going to deem them better than either the contracted players, we need to bring players in, if we do, that are going to come straight into the starting lineup and not squad players.
Okay. I know that is it a clean slate for the players as well, perhaps? We've got somebody like, for example, Adam Morgan, who's been at the club for just over a year now. We haven't seen or heard of him since the summer. What is a fresh start for him and for other players that have been on the fringes, perhaps?
Who's that player?
Adam Morgan.
Oh, I don't. I just think at the beginning, especially from today and what's happened today, is that we've got a severe lack of numbers in who are training and who weren't training, and people that with the injury status that we have got. So every fit person at this football club at the moment is needed. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, spot on, thank you. Get your boots on, Edge.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Yeah, no, I don't need a complete block if, and the bibs are not big enough.
Is Kiefer going to be fit for Saturday? Because Kiefer was substituted up at Peterborough with a foot problem, it looked like. Is he going to be?
Yeah,
okay.
He's more than okay. He trained today,
Brilliant.
So he's good.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Yes, sorry, Terry. You sound very determined.
Yeah. I'm as disappointed as anybody in everything that's gone on, but as I said before, we've had a lot of success at this football club, and you know, Gary Johnson is always going to be remembered for everything he's done in his managerial capacity. But I'd like to put on record as well is that I've probably been, I know 100% I've been there every step of the way, and until I'm told otherwise, I'm not going to shirk out of any challenge. I've never done that out on the football pitch, as you can see by the state of my face and my legs and my body and everything that I've done, and 16 years service that I've given. I'm not prepared to let us get relegated and go out with a whimper. So until I'm told otherwise, I'm going to be fighting 100% for this football club. Last time I was manager, one thing I will ask, and someone put something up the other day, and it was amazing because it brought back some really good memories. But this isn't about the situation we're in now. Isn't about Gary Johnson. It isn't about Terry Skiverton. It isn't about bringing in a fancy flash name to come into the football club, but we still go down. At the moment, for us, it's about, and it was this slogan which was mission survival. And I remember talking about a boat and stuff, and it was a bit of tongue in cheek, but there's me with people asking questions, is the team buying into it? But we're going to need our office staff, our kit man, our media man, our food staff that go out there. Most importantly, out of everyone in this football club that need to believe is our supporters. Now, the atmosphere that's been around the ground, because performances haven't been good, has been quiet. There's been shouts of Johnson out, there's been shouts of discontent, there's rumblings amongst their own fans, I heard at Peterborough. Well, I think all that's got to stop at the moment, and I think the bigger picture is this mission survival, which I think the supporters really bought into. And they were the main catalyst, I think, for the year that we did get safe under me, was the travelling supporters were taking big banners of mission survival. It was always out at the home end. A lot of the messages that I've had from supporters at the club is, whether it's, you know, they like me or don't like the regime or don't like the way that it's gone, is let's give it a chance, let's get behind the team. And it was another thing I mentioned to the players as well, where I said, as a player and as a manager and as working under Gary Johnson for the year we got promoted as well, Hewish Park was a real tough place to come for any team. Do you remember that, Steve, through the years? Chris?
Yeah.
No one's had an easy game at Hewish Park, and we've got to get ourselves back to that, and it starts on Saturday. But the crowd against Man United was magnificent, and I think the players responded to that, and I think we need a mixture of that again. And it's chicken and egg. How does the supporters get behind the team? The team's got to play well, you know, but I think it does take 90 minutes to score a goal, and we're going to need 95 minutes from the supporters. We need the supporters getting behind this mission survival statement, and we're going to need everyone pulling in the right direction for us to get to where we want to get to. And I think us admitting that now, because it hasn't really been spoken about before, because you still felt you could get out of it, you go one week to another, but now it's got to the stage where we've got to talk about it. We've got to come up with a new idea, come up with a new spirit, a new positivity that runs throughout everywhere, and I think that's the only way that we'll get to where we want to get to.
You seem, in a way, quite angry.
No, it's not angry, but they've got to see defiance, and they've got to see, you know, we need to make sure that there's a change. And if there's not a change, if it's just me coming out here and saying, well, we'll give it a shot and we'll do our best, the player's not going to respond to that. And they need to see that there needs to be change. We can't keep coming up with the same thing. And that's the only way we're going to get to where we've got to get to.
And mission survival, will this, from your own personal point of view, will you be doing this as a bit of a thing for Gary?
Well, I think, first of all, it's for the football club. And we've got to get safe. And then when we get safe, we can look back on it and say, first of all, where we think things went well, where we would need to improve on, you know, and you can look back and people and supporters can point fingers and do this and do that, but we are where we are. We've got to get behind something that, as I said before, the club buys into. Talk about achieved by unity, you've got all these words again, but the club's never done it just through one person or one player or one member of staff or one supporter. It's always been together, and this club has gone to some heights that I've never seen before.
And like you've already said, that when you were manager before, obviously we were at the bottom of the table, and this was an annual fight, wasn't it, for yourself against? So you got that experience, yeah, to work on.
Yeah, not to mention at the time when I was fighting at the bottom of the league, we had Norwich, Southampton, Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, Leicester. I think there was a few Premier League teams in the league that year, and you know, and the budgetary requirements were probably not to the same standing of you know, where we are now. But also as well is that every year that I did finish as manager, I finished higher than the year previously. And the year that we come on, we was only in the same position as what we was the year where we was the year before. And I think it might have been, was it 18th, 16th, 14th, something like that, finishes? Yeah, so we never ever finished up where we was at certain points of the year.
So 12th then at the end of the season? Or is that
we did speak about stuff in the room, but for me to make predictions would be absolutely outrageous.